In this episode, we talk about the long-standing Punjab-Haryana water-sharing dispute. We also talk about Air India's decision to suspend flights to Israel ahead of the rising tensions. But first, we talk about the renewed debate over including caste data in India's national census. Hi, I'm Ichha Sharma, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. Last week, Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav announced that the Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs has approved the inclusion of caste data in the upcoming census. The move came as a surprise, especially since the opposition, particularly Congress, has been pushing for it for a while, and the BJP has so far resisted going beyond the enumeration of SCs and STs. So what changed? Why has the BJP-led central government taken this step now? And what does it mean for the Congress and the India bloc? To understand this, my colleague Niharika Nanda speaks to the Indian Express's Vikas Pathak in this segment.
Vikas, we know that for the past few years, the BJP has resisted a nationwide caste census. But has that always been the party's stance? And since when did the demand for a caste census first begin to gain momentum?
Yeah, so basically, this demand was much heard about just after 2010, I think, during the times of the UPA, when there were demands for a caste census. And eventually a group of ministers was formed and the SECC, Socio-Economic Caste Census, was decided upon. Of course, no data have come out as yet. So that exercise did not really yield anything. But at that time, since it was a demand by many, it was indirectly accepted by the UPA government. Sushma Swaraj, as the leader of opposition and a senior BJP leader, also kind of wrote a letter expressing her willingness to concede to it. As in, the BJP also officially, the leader of opposition, said that we are fine with the idea. After that, the idea died a natural death. It has come up again now over the last 1.5, 2 years when the Congress has, for a change, raised it. And initially, the BJP government was very non-committal. Though, of course, in one of his statements, in one of his replies in Parliament, Nityanand Rai, the MOS, said that there is no policy to include caste apart from scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. In 3 other replies in the same year, he said that since independence, the government of India has been recording just SC and ST and not other castes. So, of course, there was a reluctance on the part of the government initially, though in most of their statements, they said nothing very clearly. They did not even say that we are opposing caste census. They did not. In their speeches, again, they were kind of silent on it. RSS, of course, in between supported the idea around last year. It supported the idea saying that if we need more data for welfare measures, not a bad idea to have a caste census, but it should not be used as a political tool. So I think the government has been calculating regarding it, and eventually it decided to bite the bullet. Eventually it thought that since the opposition and particularly the Congress has made caste census the main plank for 1.5 years, they thought that, okay, let us accept it. And at the same time also point out that over 60 years in power, the Congress did not go for a caste census. So that is how it stands now.
Okay, so by pointing out that the Congress never conducted a caste census while in power, it has basically allowed the BJP to now claim it after having considered it themselves.
Yeah, because let's face it, both the Congress and the BJP are new in boarding this ship, right? Because caste censuses never happened after 1931. It was never a massive popular demand. But over the last 1.5 years, where perhaps because the BJP in the last 10 years had been getting immense traction, particularly in North India, Western India and parts of Eastern India, among the OBCs, perhaps the opposition, particularly the Congress, thought that this is one way to kind of wean away some of those OBC votes from the BJP and kind of court them. Because SC-ST populations are anyway well known. There is no doubt about it. It is the question of the OBC population. And of course, other populations like so-called general category castes will also be counted. There's no doubt about that. But I think it's a kind of a new agenda for both the national parties. And the BJP perhaps has thought that supposing it becomes an issue in the future, because in the 2024 Lok Sabha, they did suffer a few reverses. in say Maharashtra, UP, etc. And they came below the majority mark on their own. So perhaps they thought that since the Congress is taking this as its main plank, let us accept it and finish off the Congress agenda regarding it.
And talking about the elections, the Bihar Assembly elections are coming up. Could that be a motivating factor, especially since Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has already conducted a caste survey in Bihar?
Look, partly yes. I would say partly yes, though if you frankly ask me, given the last three Vidhan Sabha election victories of the BJP, Haryana, the Maharashtra and Delhi, I don't really think that there was any pressing electoral need. Of course, this is maybe an additional gesture that you are sending out. You never know. Maybe the calculation could be that after Mr. Nitish Kumar retires from politics, does his party have a second leader? If it does not, can the BJP occupy that space among sections of OBCs? I'm just thinking aloud. Because so far as this coming election is concerned, Maharashtra, let's not forget, is also a state where caste has been a very important factor. But without a caste census, BJP swept it. With Nitish Kumar in the NDA, there would have been every likelihood that the BJP would have done well even in Bihar in the coming elections. So was this gesture absolutely essential? No, but certainly Bihar election was in their mind. And who knows, just thinking aloud, it is also possible that the BJP might be calculating for a future scenario when Mr. Nitish Kumar is no longer in active politics. So it would want to perhaps, stake its claim for those votes that were Mr. Nitish Kumar's captive votes. That's what I'm thinking aloud about.
So now, what does this mean for the opposition, especially the Congress, which has made the caste census one of its key poll planks?
Look, it is a bit of a setback for the Congress because, first of all, the plank itself is a recent one. The Congress was never associated with Mandal politics, never in its history. In fact, it was a latecomer, a real latecomer of the bloc. Even the BJP had adjusted to the rise of Mandal much earlier than the Congress, right from the 1990s. The first gesture that the Congress made towards OBCs was perhaps 2006, Mandal 2, when OBC reservations were extended to higher education institutions, when Arjun Singh was the minister. When the Youth for Equality movement had come up against the government decision, that was, I think, after 1990, the first gesture made by the Congress, which is like 16 years. That apart, the Congress did not really groom OBC leaderships in North India. Even today, it does not really have too many of them, apart from Mr. Ashok Gehlot or Mr. Bhupesh Baghel, if you talk about Central India. It was a recent plan for the Congress. Now that the government has announced it, Congress cannot go to town with it. What the Congress can do, which it will do for a few days, it will say that we said it first and then they accepted it. Right. And the government will say no when the Bihar caste survey was decided upon, when Nitish Kumar was at the NDA, when it was first decided upon that Bihar will conduct such a survey. So that will be a very difficult point to prove that, the government went entirely by what the Congress was demanding. So they'll claim it for a while, but then after that, the census would be conducted under this government. So, well, as of now, I think the BJP is well placed because the OBCs have no reason to be angry with it after this decision. And the upper caste can be convinced that it was the pressure of the Congress and it is the Congress that is making politics caste-centric. So, well, as of now, I think a slight advantage remains with the government and not with the opposition.
And Vikas, in broader terms, how could a caste census like this reshape the political landscape in the country? What kind of an impact it could have?
Well, it could have several kinds of impacts. We'll have to wait and see how it comes because, one, it will give you the numbers, the population of every caste, right? Not every category, but every caste. It will give you national population of every caste. It will also give you state-wise population of every caste. Secondly, since the census also records other data, which show a bit of your socio-economic status, your occupation, etc. Once the two data sets come together and it's a digital census, you will be able to even collate not just populations, but the socio-economic status of caste groups. That will also become known. So in that sense, which are the groups lacking behind? Now, how does it play politically? One way is that there might be some social resentment against certain caste groups that are not very high in population but seem to be doing better, seem to be doing well. Second could be the most populous OBC castes in any state may think of themselves as natural leaders of the OBC movement, become more assertive. The third would be very small castes among the OBCs, which are also not doing well economically or socially. They might think that we need a separate kind of, welfare policies for us. So it could do all things at one time. It could either maybe kind of embolden the bigger mandal bloc, which is the bigger castes. It might create resentment among smaller OBC castes, which might lead to a renewed debate on subcategorization of OBCs, right? So it can do both of these things. It might actually show regional patterns, which categories of people are doing better. Maybe OBCs in Bihar are not doing well, but OBCs in Tamil Nadu are doing much better. So we don't really know what all could come out of those data. We will have to wait and see how it plays out, what kind of data come out. You'll also have data regarding Muslim castes. So supposing the Sheikhs and Sayyids and the Pathans are doing much better than the Pasmanda Muslims, the government may actually try to kind of, set out with the narrative that, we want to do justice to the poorest of our Muslim brothers. So, the devil will lie in the detail.
You also spoke to some of the BJP leaders. What did they have to say about their decision? How are they framing it?
Well, it's very clear the framing on the part of the BJP the moment they decided to announce it is not to say that we are accepting the opposition demand. Rather, they said that for 60 years, the Congress never went in for a caste census ever since independence. So they said they did not do it, we are doing it. Then they would also add to it by saying that the Congress has always been quote-unquote anti-OBC, quote-unquote anti-Dalit, whatever, which the government has been saying in parliament. That look, Dr. Ambedkar was defeated in an election because the Congress fielded a candidate against him. They would say, look, the Mandal Commission, the first backward class commission, that is the Kaka Kalelkar Commission, it proved to be abortive because the Congress was not serious. Then they would say when the Mandal Commission report came, Indira Gandhi buried it, put it on the back burner for 10 years. It was a non-Congress government under VP Singh, supported by the BJP, that announced the implementation of the Mandal Commission recommendations. So there are so many things that the government, the BJP will say, which it has been saying. So first of all, it has framed it as the BJP doing what the Congress in power refused to do. And since the Congress in opposition has been demanding it, they say that Congress was never serious. It is using it as a political ploy or a political tool. It was never serious about it.
And Vikas, there have been certain concerns raised by the southern states about delimitation. They feel that because they've managed population growth better, they could be penalized for it. And the DMK, for example, has been very vocal about it as well. So would the caste census have any impact on that issue?
Well, one sense in the mind of the BJP is also that what is the DMK arguing? The DMK is arguing that delimitation should not be there. Even the government is no longer saying that we will have delimitation and change the proportion of seats. It is quiet about that. It is trying not to create a controversy there. Though 1 year ago, the government had said during the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam that we first have census and then delimitation. So whatever. But the DMK has been arguing that those who perform better cannot be penalized. That is the argument. If certain states in India have better education, better per capita income, better birth control, lower TFRs, then they cannot be penalized. In fact, they should be rewarded. Now, the moment you get a caste census simultaneously, the data might show a very different pattern. It might show, for instance, that the OBCs of, say, Bihar and UP have grown in population since 1931. As in, those castes that are now in OBC, their population in 1931 as a proportion was much lower. Now it is higher, but they have not got the justice because they are poor also and their representation is also not adequate. It might also throw up data about some, say, quote-unquote upper castes who might be doing better in TFR, who might be having better education, might be doing better in terms of occupation, per capita income, whatever little data that we come across, they might be doing better. So two opposite kinds of data will be thrown in after this caste census when the delimitation debate will also be heating up, where if you argue that the better off should not be punished or penalized, then you cannot argue the opposite, saying that now we have the data of the caste census, those who are lagging behind should be given more representation. If you argue that yes, those who are lagging behind should be given more representation, not just 50% or 55%, let's give them 85%, then there'll be voices in Bihar and UP who will say, look, the population of UP and Bihar has increased more, we should get more seats. Right. So that is another sense that where, the kind of attack that the DMK was trying to build up, there's a sense that it will complicate those matters.
And finally, talking about the census itself, we know that it has been delayed, but do we have any sense of when it might actually take place? And what kind of caste-related details are expected to be included?
Well, they have not set a date to it. So since they have not set a date to it or told anyone very clearly when the census will happen, so it may be, you can't predict whether it will be this year or next year. When does the work get over? That is very difficult to say. And so what is done in the census is that data is collected. It's not just a count of people or household to household. It is also data is collected under it on demographic and various socio-economic parameters like education, whether you are SC or ST, your religion, your language, marriage, fertility, disability, occupation, and migration. All these are part of the census questionnaire. Now you just add, instead of simply SC or ST, a general caste kind of a column to it. So along with caste, you'll get to know who is a Brahmin, which family is a Brahmin, who is a Yadav, all those things you'll get to know. But you'll also be able to correlate it with their education, religion, language, marriage, fertility, disability, occupation, migration. So now you understand the kind of data that will be collected. This is basically what Rahul Gandhi was once calling an X-ray. But how it plays out, we don't know as yet. We'll know what kind of a debate it generates only later.
And next we shift from national policy to regional fiction, as Punjab and Haryana remain at odds over water sharing. In late April, tensions between Punjab and Haryana escalated again, this time over a directive to release an additional 8,500 cusecs of water to Haryana. The decision issued by the Bhakra BS Management Board, or BBMB, which overrides Punjab's objections, has ignited a multi-party standoff, prompted legal threats, and reopened long-standing questions about interstate water sharing frameworks in India.
Haryana has been saying that it has a shortage of drinking water. So then it raised a request to BBMB that it should be given 8,500 cusecs of water from Bhakra Dam instead of 4,000 cusecs that it has been getting for last 1 month.
This is the Indian Express's Kanchan Vasdev, who reported on the story for the newspaper.
So then BBMB thought that it's better to hold a meeting. So meeting was held on the 23rd of April, where all the partner states, including Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Delhi and Rajasthan, they were there. So when on 23rd April this demand was raised, then Punjab said that it doesn't have extra water to share because it has to supply water to its farmers for paddy transplantation that would begin on 1st of June, and already cotton sowing is going on in the state. So it refused on the 23rd of April. So after that, BBMB called another meeting saying that the state should go back, do their homework and come back again. So again a meeting took place that went on for 5 hours. It was a marathon meeting. All the states said that Haryana should be given water, but Punjab insisted that it doesn't want to spare even a single cusec now because it has a shortage of water. Then what happened, that the decision was taken in which Punjab gave a 2-page long dissent note saying that it has a acute shortage of water. It is already going towards desertification and the farmers cannot afford to, sow their crops, especially paddy, which it has to give for the central pool. So on that day, this happened that the decision was taken against Punjab's wish, and Haryana was told that it would be given water, and Punjab was asked to release it. But next day what happened was that Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, he ordered that not a drop would go, and he ordered that force would be deployed at the Bhakra Dam, at the Nangal Bhakra Dam, where the water was to be supplied, and he ordered all his engineers that not a drop will be given unless the government orders.
BJP ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਭਾਖੜਾ ਬਿਆਸ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਬੋਰਡ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਦਬਾਅ ਪਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਧੂ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਿਓ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ। ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਨਾਤੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਬੂੰਦ ਵੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਫालतू ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਲਈ ਪਾਣੀ ਇਸਤੇਮਾਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਣਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹਿੱਸੇ ਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹਾਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ 2 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਰਤ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹੋ।
Kanchan tells us that despite Punjab's opposition, the BBMB went ahead and approved the release with Haryana, Rajasthan and Delhi voting in favour and Himachal Pradesh abstained. So Kanchan, speaking of the Bhakra BS Management Board, which is at the centre of this dispute, can you tell us what it is and why does it matter so much in this dispute?
The Bhakra Byas Management Board, the BBMB, it is an interstate board responsible for the administration, maintenance and operation of Bhakra Nangal and Byas projects. It was established in 1966 under the Punjab Reorganization Act. 1966, when Punjab and Haryana, they were divided and new state was born. Haryana was born. And ever since BBMB, it regulates the supply of water and power from these projects to Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, Rajasthan, Delhi and Chandigarh. These are the partner states. So BBMB controls the release of water from these dams to the participating states, all these states, for irrigation and other uses. It also manages the generation and distribution of power from the projects to the participating states. And it is also providing technical expertise in the field of hydroelectric power and irrigation projects. This is what BBMB was set up for. And then every year it fixes the quota also for all the states. This is what it has been doing. Administration, repair, maintenance, operation, everything under the BBMB. That's how it functions.
Right, and after Punjab's opposition, where the authorities have said that not a drop will be shared, the BBMB still voted to release the water. So can they actually override a state's objections?
This has happened for the first time that this kind of a situation has taken place. This kind of confrontation we have not reported ever in the history. It is for the first time that this has taken place. So BBMB went by the majority. When Punjab was objecting that it can't give water to Haryana, then they took to voting. In fact, this kind of voting also took place for the first time. So all the partner states, they were asked to vote on whether extra water can be given to Haryana or not. So in this case, all BJP-ruled states like Haryana, Rajasthan and Delhi, they voted for giving water to Haryana. Himachal Pradesh is a Congress-ruled state. It didn't want to come with Punjab, which is all AAP-ruled state. So they did not vote. So it became 3-1. Punjab was opposing it and all the three states, they were supporting it. So finally, going by the majority by vote, the BBMB decided that when the three partner states are ready to give water to Haryana, then what is Punjab's problem? So it was done. So basically, they could override it.
And Kanchan, you highlight that Punjab says its reservoirs are running low and that they are all well below last year's levels. So how bad is it for the state?
Actually, due to scanty snowfall this winter season, the dam's water is quite low compared to last year's. And also, as we know that Punjab is moving fast towards desertification. All the chief ministers, successive chief ministers have been raising this issue. As of now, also, there are 11 blocks out of 153 in the state which are in critical dark zone. 107 are in dark zone. And still we are sowing paddy each year, which is a water guzzler crop. That Punjab says that it is doing it for the central pool so that it can fill the hungry stomachs of the entire country. And it is generally said that we are exporting our water to other states for want of this money that we get in lieu of supplying rice and paddy to the other states, which are like the consumer states of Punjab's rice. So this has been the situation. And since not much snow took place, during winters this year, so the water level in the dams is down. So what will happen is that during the time when the canal water will be supplied for the crops, there will not be enough water. Then there will be power crisis also, because with water we are generating power. So this is what has been going on. So the government has been saying that it doesn't want to give away its share, because otherwise the farmers will also, they will face shortage in the coming days when the demand would be at its peak.
And given this, could you talk about why Haryana has made this request of additional cusecs of water?
Haryana is saying that they don't have drinking water in some districts. There is a shortage in Fatehabad, Sirsa and Hisar. And there are reports that people have to travel and walk many kilometers to fetch water for drinking itself. There has been a problem of drinking water in these districts anyway, but this time they are saying it is much more. Because everywhere the underground water is going down. It's like everywhere. We can say that. So this is why they are saying that they need drinking water. But Punjab has been contending their claims, stating that Haryana has been falsely saying that it requires drinking water, but it has been using water for irrigation purposes also, which is why it requires now 8,500 cusac, while 4,000 cusac is already being supplied to it, which is beyond its quota.
Another interesting thing that you highlight is that the data says that Haryana has already used more than 100% of its quota. So can you tell us, how was it possible under an annually regulated system?
This can happen. Punjab has been saying that Haryana had used 100% of its water by March end, which was a month ago. So after March end, from 1st April onwards, it has been drawing 4,000 cusac extra every day, which is from Punjab's quota. So Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann has been saying that upon Haryana's earlier request, this 4,000 cusack extra was given every day in April. But now, in May, Haryana wants 8,500 cusacs, which is 4,500 cusack more. Overdrawing is possible, but it is allowed only upon request by a state and if the other state is willing to give it, like the riparian state. So if you look at 4,000 cusack otherwise also, it technically keeps flowing every day because the power is being generated and water is released continuously. So that extra water Haryana was getting. So now in May itself, it has used 3% more water than was its quota, which is possible.
Right. And can you also break down for us where do the two states stand as of now in terms of their claims and their actions in this dispute?
Yeah, the shortage of water is a reality. We all know that. And it is often said that the next war will be about water. And we are already witnessing two neighboring states of the same country, sparring over water now. So the issue has reached the Supreme Court, with Haryana moving the top court of the country. But in Punjab and Haryana, the issue has also taken a political color. The centre has now intervened and stated that the BBMB should resolve the issue and work on fulfilling need of Haryana for drinking water. At the same time, it said that Haryana can get water from now and later return it to Punjab. So BBMB had called a meeting yesterday to resolve it, but Punjab boycotted it because it had held a all-party meeting on Friday in which it was decided that a special session of Vidhan Sabha would be convened on Monday and a resolution would be passed that Punjab does not have any water to share with the neighbouring state. So because this is a common sentiment in Punjab that there is no water, so they are now convening a special session and they didn't want to participate in this meeting yesterday to resolve it because they knew that the special session is there. So had they gone for that meeting and agreed on a mutual agreement that we will help you with water now and you give it back to us later, they didn't want to do it because what would they do in the special session on Monday? The resolution would have been null and void then because the issue was already sorted. So that is why there's a huge politics also which is at play. It's like everybody can understand that.
And lastly, Kanchan, during your reportage, you also spoke with a water expert and they offered an interesting idea to, allow a temporary help. So can you talk about that and also tell us if that is a practical way forward in these kinds of disputes?
Yeah, A.S. Dulet is the former chief engineer of canals from Punjab. So he has been at the helm of affairs, in the past when water was being shared and it was being overdrawn also, it was being returned to the riparian state. So that is why he has said that the system has been working, that extra water is given usually when a state needs it and after that it is returned to the riparian state. He said that system has been in place, but it is only this time that this controversy has erupted. So he has been saying that this was avoidable. Similarly, the centre has also said that, you sit together and you work this out. You take extra water now, but you return it later. That is how it is.
And in the end, we talk about Air India's move to suspend flights to Israel, prompted by rising instability in the region. A missile strike on Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion International Airport yesterday morning led to the diversion of an Air India flight en route from Delhi to Tel Aviv. The flight, which was about an hour away from its destination and flying through Jordanian airspace, was rerouted to Abu Dhabi, where it landed without incident. And so, in the wake of this escalation, Air India has suspended its Tel Aviv operations until 6th of May, citing passenger and crew safety. The airline, which resumed daily services to Israel just a month ago in March, had been the only Indian carrier operating this route. Its services had previously been suspended in August last year due to another regional flare-up involving Iran and Israel. Yesterday's missile incident, attributed to Yemen-based Houthi militia, is part of a broader pattern of tensions in the region, exacerbated by Israel's ongoing military campaign in Gaza. According to international media reports, the missile launched by Houthi struck the perimeter of Ben Gurion Airport, prompting a brief halt in flight operations and causing injuries to a few people. The Houthis, who have claimed responsibility, reportedly issued a statement warning airlines that Tel Aviv is not a safe destination, reinforcing the stance through direct action. Air India flight AI-139, operated by Boeing 787 Dreamliner, was among the several aircraft diverted due to the airspace threat. An Air India spokesperson confirmed that the flight landed safely in Abu Dhabi and that passengers would be returned to Delhi from there. The spokesperson further stated, quote, Our operations to and from Tel Aviv will remain suspended with immediate effect till 6th of May to ensure the safety of our customers and staff. Our staff on ground is assisting customers and helping them with alternative arrangements." Unquote. Affected passengers holding tickets between 4th of May and 6th of May are being offered a one-time waiver on rescheduling or full refunds as part of the airline's customer management protocol during such disruptions. The missile launch from Yemen is seen as part of the Houthi response to Israel's military operations in Gaza. The Houthis, backed by Iran, have previously launched drones and missiles into Israel and have warned that Israeli airports and airspace are viable targets. These warnings have taken on more urgency in recent months, especially with Tel Aviv's airspace becoming an area of repeated concern for international airlines. You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by Niharika, Nanda and me, Ichha Sharma. If you like the show, do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend it to someone you think may like it, with a friend or in your family. This is the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Audio or write to us at podcast@indianexpress.com.